Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 25-year-old James Elliott of Illinois was a member of his local Proud Boys group when he took part in the Capitol attack. Elliott met with someone on the morning of January 6th, and he got a ballistic vest from that person, which contained steel plates that were strong enough to protect rifle fire. He also took a two-way radio with him, goggles, a helmet, a flag that was attached to a wooden pole. It also had a spear at the tip of it. And he wore hard knuckle gloves with spikes. So, you know, your typical tourist garb. So he met up with the Proud Boys. And as Elliott was approaching the Capitol, he stepped over barricades that other people had knocked down. Elliott neared the front lines and he put on his goggles and his helmet at that point. And then he thrust his flag in the air 3 times and he shouted out this phrase from the movie 300. He keeps doing this, as you guys are going to hear, but this is like a battle cry. He then motioned for other people to move forward, to move toward the police. And then a while later, as chemicals were being sprayed to deter the crowd, Elliott again turns to the crowd. He yells out this 300 movie battle cry. Sometime after that, the mob was in a tug of war with the police. They were battling over a section of the bike rack barricades. And Elliott swung his flagpole at the officers' heads. So he struck one of the officers. That officer later in the day lost consciousness and bit his tongue because he had been struck in the head so many times that day. Several days later, the officer was diagnosed with a concussion. Elliott didn't really seem to care that he was inflicting pain, though, because he pulled the flagpole back after he struck that officer. He straightened it, and then he thrust it at the police line again. So from there, he moved over to the inauguration scaffolding. He was over there shouting out his war cry again, the one from the 300 movie. And then as he was ascending the stairs under the scaffolding, he was hit with tear gas. So at that point, he retreated. And according to the prosecutor, they have no evidence that Elliott advanced any further. That night, Elliott shared videos on Telegram, and he just went off on Donald Trump. He said that they, quote, took the Capitol and that they, quote, fought for him. And then he was pissed off because he said basically Trump just gave up. He used more colorful language than that, but I don't want my video to be demonetized, so I'll just leave it to your imagination. You know how these people talk. The following day, Elliott texted a bunch of his contacts, and he portrayed himself as a hero and a warrior. He bragged about how the Proud Boys were planning to elevate him to a 4th-degree member. If you guys followed my coverage of the Proud Boys trial, you know they have this handbook, and there's 4 different levels, and how you get to the 4th one, the 4th-degree member status, is you have to basically commit an act of violence, to sum it up. And in one text, Elliott referred to the Capitol attack as a, quote, blast. And at some point, though, reality set in because Elliott asked one contact to not discuss anything that he shared. He said, don't tell anyone about what I've told you. But then he wrote, quote, oh, dude, want to know one more cool thing? I bonked 2 cops. Never thought I'd say that, LOL. Then he went into more detail about these 2 cops that he, quote unquote, bonked with his flagpole. But his account of what he did doesn't exactly match up with the excuses that he gave his friend. So, of course, he made himself out to be some sort of savior, like he was coming to the rescue of other people, other members of the mob. And that's why he hit them. The evidence does not show that he did it for any reason other than to be violent. And on Twitter, Elliott made a full confession. In one post, he wrote, quote, You're just salty because BLM and Antifa have been rioting for almost 4 years and have only managed to get their ass kicked over and over again. When in 6 fucking hours, we took the fucking Capitol in 2 different states. But when the sedition hunters started to circulate images of him, and they actually tied him to the Proud Boys, and they were trying to figure out who he was, it appears that he tried to throw them off the scent because he started putting out false information. It very much appears likely that he created a fake Twitter account under a woman's name, under a lesbian woman's identity, and that he was posting fake details about his name and where he lived. It only delayed the inevitable, though, because Elliott was arrested on December 20th of 2021, and he was indicted on charges of civil disorder, assaulting officers with a deadly or dangerous weapon, entering restricted grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, disorderly conduct on restricted grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, physical violence on restricted grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, and physical violence on Capitol grounds. Following his arrest, and despite his war cry that he screamed at the mob numerous times at the Capitol, Elliott tells the FBI he was only at the Capitol to make sure that everyone was safe. Yeah, that's why he hit the police. That's why he yelled out this battle cry over and over again. And then he said he was, quote, sucked into the scaffolding. I don't know how that happens, but he said that once he got there, once he was under that scaffolding, he saw that there were violent people there. So he turned around and he left. Yeah. Realize there's some dangerous people here. There's some people bonking police. I better get out of here. So Elliott also claimed that his flagpole inadvertently lowered. He used the word lowered when he was, picking up something off the ground. He said, as I bent down, it must have just lowered. And that's how it touched the police, So what happened to his excited text messages about how he bonked the cops with his flagpole? So Elliott finally pleaded guilty to assaulting officers in November of 2022, but the prosecutor dropped the dangerous weapon enhancement. So he was facing up to 8 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. The prosecutor, however, requested only 41 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. Surprisingly, Elliott has no criminal history, a rarity among proud bigots. And Elliott's attorney argued that sending his client to prison would really create a hardship for his family. Apparently, he has 2 young children. So as I always say, and as actually the prosecutor pointed out in this case, it's really too bad that he wasn't thinking of his kids on January 6th instead of Donald Trump, right? Kind of like that Boomerang movie with Halle Berry and Eddie Murphy. Love should have brought your ass home last night. So anyway, U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth presided over Elliott's case, and I couldn't locate any details about what may have been said at the sentencing hearing, but Elliott was sentenced to 37 months in prison, 24 months of probation, and a $2,000 restitution fee. I think it was decent for someone with no criminal history. Also, I do feel bad for his kids. I mean, besides the people he injured and terrorized on January 6th, they are the victims in all of this. Anyway, guys, if I hear any more, I will let you know. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you guys. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.